It's football season and waiting for football that Caitlin Clark has become a leading source of...
Like many broadcasts, it started off in a calm and familiar way. Caitlin Clark confidently held the microphone as she broke down the Indiana Fever's hard-fought game, speaking with her usual poise while the crowd quietly listened and the cameras rolled. Then everything changed in an instant. A tall, unmistakable figure suddenly stepped into the frame. There was no introduction, no announcement, and no sign that Larry Bird was even in the building. One moment he was out of sight, and the next he was standing just inches away. Calm, quiet, and carrying the kind of presence that immediately captured everyone's attention, he walked over and gently but confidently took the microphone from Caitlin before she could finish speaking. The entire arena went silent. The commentators stopped talking, the fans leaned in, and Caitlin, clearly caught off guard, stepped back with a surprised expression. Larry Bird didn't apologize or ask for permission. He simply looked at her, gave a single confident nod, and delivered a statement that sent chills through everyone in the arena. It was a moment that felt completely real.
Is proving, despite losing 1 million viewers from last year, is that she has risen the entire league.
Caitlin Clark that they're mad about. Now they're pissed off because people are willing to pay up to see.
The moment Larry Bird began to speak, the entire arena exploded with cheers so loud they seemed to shake the building. Holding the microphone with the same calm confidence and control that defined his legendary playing career, he spoke without a script or a carefully prepared statement. It was simply honest emotion from one of basketball's greatest icons, who rarely steps into the spotlight these days. "I've been watching this game for decades," he said in a steady voice filled with the weight of experience. "I've seen countless players come and go, but every once in a while, someone comes along who completely changes the game." He then turned toward Caitlin Clark, studying her with the sharp eye of a true basketball legend before adding, "She's not just putting up impressive numbers. She's changing the culture."
We're flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay.
As Larry Bird finished speaking, the crowd jumped to its feet, and the standing ovation was so powerful it seemed to shake the entire arena. Cameras caught Caitlin Clark's reaction as her expression shifted from complete surprise to disbelief, then to quiet humility. It looked like the moment had truly sunk in for someone who had grown up hearing stories about legends like Larry Bird, and never imagined she would one day receive such public praise from him. But Bird wasn't finished. In a steady voice, he recalled a time when people claimed women's basketball wasn't exciting and that no one cared to watch. Then he gestured toward the packed arena, where fans were cheering, jerseys filled the stands, and signs reading "Clark is the GOAT" were held high, serving as proof of how much the game had changed. He pointed to the soaring attendance, record-breaking all-star voting, booming merchandise sales, packed arenas, and strong weekly television ratings as evidence of that growth. Families had traveled for hours just to watch Caitlin play, and the arena fell silent again as Bird delivered another memorable line. "She's doing what I tried to do back in the 1980s. She's making the game impossible to ignore. Whether you're a man or a woman, if you love basketball, you have to appreciate what she's doing." After a brief pause, he handed the microphone back to Caitlin and simply said, "Sorry for interrupting." The crowd rose once again as Bird quietly disappeared down the tunnel. Caitlin stood still for a moment, fighting back her emotions before breaking into a genuine smile. Taking the microphone, she laughed and said, "Honestly, I'm speechless. Larry Bird taking over my interview is probably the coolest thing that's ever happened to me." Within minutes, clips of the unforgettable moment spread across Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, with fans and analysts discussing every word Larry Bird had. said Caitlin Clark didn't need anyone to explain what had just happened because she had received praise from one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Over the next few days, the reaction only became bigger. ESPN replayed the moment repeatedly, former players shared their thoughts online, and the basketball world couldn't stop talking about it. Magic Johnson called it a true passing of the torch. Shaquille O'Neal said it gave him chills, and even Diana Taurasi, who had previously questioned the excitement around Caitlin, posted a simple message: respect. What made the moment even more powerful was Larry Bird's reputation for staying out of the spotlight. He rarely attends WNBA games, avoids media attention, and almost never makes public statements. Yet this time he stepped forward simply because he genuinely appreciated what Caitlin was doing. Reporters later confirmed that Bird had not requested any media coverage of his appearance, making it clear that he was motivated by sincerity rather than attention. By this point, Caitlin wasn't just putting up impressive performances. She was changing opinions, attracting new fans, and helping the league earn the respect it had worked for over many years. For many people, Larry Bird's public support erased any remaining doubts about her impact. During an interview the following day, Caitlin was still smiling as she admitted, "I don't think I'll ever get over that moment. Larry Bird was one of my heroes growing up. I had his posters on my wall, and my dad always talked about him whenever we watched old Celtics games." Overcome with emotion, she paused before adding, "I'll never forget it." Looking back, that single moment became one of the defining memories of the season. Memes spread across social media. The phrase "game recognizes game" became a popular slogan, and the NBA and WNBA even used it in a joint commercial. The Indiana Fever saw ticket sales surge. Caitlin Clark merchandise quickly sold out again, and even longtime WNBA critics started watching after seeing a basketball legend publicly endorse the league's brightest new star. Then, just as quietly as he had appeared, Larry Bird disappeared once again. There were no media tours, no follow-up interviews, and no attempt to stay in the spotlight. That was simply Larry Bird, a man whose words always spoke louder than any publicity ever could. Larry Bird appeared, shared a message he believed everyone needed to hear, and then quietly walked away, leaving behind one unforgettable statement: "She's changing the culture." Those words quickly echoed throughout the basketball world, showing up on murals, in commercials, and even during pre-game warm-ups. Caitlin Clark didn't let the praise change who she was. Instead, it fueled her even more. She played with greater confidence, composure, and determination, as if she had been handed the responsibility to carry the game forward. A few weeks later, after another deep three-pointer and another double-double, she was asked about Bird's comments again. Smiling, she admitted the moment still felt unreal, but said it wasn't just about her. She explained that it was for every girl who had ever been told her sport didn't matter, and for everyone who had ever been overlooked, adding that Larry Bird's words spoke for all of them. As interest in the league continued to grow, attendance reportedly climbed by 40%, and merchandise sales jumped by 500%. On the court, Caitlin kept proving why defenses had to respect her range. If opponents failed to double team her or play her physically, she could make them pay with effortless shots from 33 feet away. That was what made Bird's message so meaningful. It wasn't just a memorable microphone moment. It confirmed what everyone was already seeing on the court, that Caitlin Clark belonged among the very best. When she returned for the next game, the atmosphere felt different. The arena seemed brighter, the fans were on their feet earlier than usual, and the entire night felt bigger than basketball itself. Larry Bird did more than step onto the court that night and speak. In that unforgettable moment, he seemed to pass the torch to Caitlin Clark, giving her something far greater than a microphone. The broadcast had started like any other, with Caitlin calmly and confidently breaking down the Indiana Fever's hard-fought game, while the crowd listened quietly and the cameras rolled. Then everything changed. A tall, unmistakable figure suddenly appeared on screen. There had been no introduction, no announcement, and no hint that Larry Bird was even in the building. One moment he was nowhere to be seen, and the next he was standing just a few feet away. Calm, silent, and carrying the kind of presence that instantly captured everyone's attention, Bird stepped forward and gently but confidently took the microphone from Caitlin before she could finish speaking. The entire arena froze. The commentators stopped talking, the fans leaned forward, and Caitlin took a surprised step back with wide eyes. Larry didn't apologize or ask for permission. He simply looked at her, gave a quiet nod, and spoke words that sent chills through the arena. The instant he began talking, the crowd erupted with cheers so loud they seemed to shake the entire building as Larry Bird held the microphone with the same calm confidence and authority that had defined his legendary career.